Hi, welcome to the video series on APA Style 7th edition, part 1, creating references. This first video is on the basic elements of reference entries. My name is Josette Kubicki and I'm the liaison librarian for the departments of Teaching and Leading and Psychological Sciences at Augusta University. So it is worth noting that the information that I'm providing is derived from the APA style publication manual and other guides. So I highly recommend that you purchase this APA style manual in the 7th edition if you haven't yet already. It is available through Amazon and other vendors. APA Style also has associated companions that you might find useful, which are summaries of the manual, and they provide some practice questions and so on and so forth. If you can't afford the guide at this stage, then do take a look at the APA Style library guide that Augusta University Libraries has. This guide is available through guides.augusta.edu/APA. And if you do have a copy of the APA publication manual, that's great. You still might find this online citation guide as a handy, ready reference tool for you to refer to for further examples, for quick reference, that kind of thing. So I'll be talking more about using this guide later in another video. So regarding the fundamentals of creating reference list entries, meaning the entry that you're going to put on your reference list at the end of your paper, or if you're doing an annotated bibliography, then that reference entry that you provide in your paper before you provide the annotation. So reference entries, they provide 4 main reference elements. And these 4 main reference elements are typically in every reference entry, and they answer 4 questions. So 1, who? So who is the author? Who has written or composed of the work? When? When was the work created? What? What is the title of what you were particularly citing? So for example, if it's a journal article, what is the title of the journal article? If it is a book chapter, what is the title of the chapter? And if it's just a book in general, what is the title of the book? And where? So where is this information that you're citing, where is it coming from? So what is the source of this information? So for example, if it is a journal article, what journal does it belong to? And what is the information about that journal? If it is a book chapter, what book does it belong to? And if it is a web page that you're citing, what is the website that it belongs to? And you also include information on where to find it online, if applicable. All right, so there are the 4 main elements of a reference list entry. It's very helpful to think of this 4-part model, because if you notice that you're generating a citation from Galileo and it is missing one of these elements, then you know, I need to look into this and see what is missing so I can correct the reference entry. So think of it like a 4-part model. This is what APA has, this 4-part model to help you construct your reference entries. And these 4 parts are also known as elements. And every reference should have these 4 parts, no matter what the resource is. And just as I alluded before, it needs to have an author, a date, title, and a source. So those 4 elements, 4 parts, 4 elements to every reference entry. That is what is typical when creating APA style references. Now you're going to be thinking, well, what if one of these reference elements, what if they're missing? For example, sometimes, you just cannot find a date. Sometimes the author is missing. Well, the APA style manual provides guidance for missing reference elements. So for instance, if you cannot find an author or a date or a title of a work, there is guidance on that. And we have also summarized this guidance in the APA citation guide. So let's take a look at that. So on the APA citation guide, under general guidelines, we have some information about the basic principles of reference list entries that I had covered. And further down, take a look at the little contents that appears once you click on general guidelines. We have a section on missing reference information. So click on that and that will take you to this table. So we have summarized this information from section 9.4 of the APA publication manual. And what you do, if you take a look at this table, is look for your missing element. For example, I am missing the date. Look at the solution. So the solution is to write n.d. for no date. And then you provide the title and the source. So in the reference list entry, it is going to look like this, like you have the author, n.d., the title, and the source element. And then we also have the format on how you would provide it in text, but more on in-text citations in later video series or a live presentation. So sometimes you might be in situations where multiple elements are missing. So what you would do is look for the combination of elements that are missing. In the table, we provided the most common ones, and otherwise you might need to look at different rows individually. So for example, if the author and the title are both missing, it is saying you need to describe the work in square brackets and then provide the date and the source. So you've got to put the description of the work, like you provide a brief description of what the work is depicting, followed by the date and followed by the source information. So it's a pretty handy guide on what to do if you're missing any elements. So when you're creating your reference list entries with these elements, this is the overview, put the reference elements in the correct order. So the correct order, meaning author, date, title, and source. Those 4 things. Place a period after each reference element. So after the author, you place a period. After the date, you place a period. After the title, you place a period. And after the source information. The exception is if you have a link. So a link could be either a DOI, which is a digital object identifier, or a URL, a uniform resource locator. The uniform resource locator is basically your web address that you find on a web browser when you're on a particular website. So after a link, you do not provide a period because that could interfere with link functionality. And order your reference entries alphabetically. So if you've got a couple of citations that are by the same author in your reference list, then order them by the most recently published. Double space your references, and also the rest of your paper also needs to be double spaced. And in your reference entries, apply a hanging indent of 1/2 inch. So the second and subsequent lines of the reference list entry will be hanging at 1/2 inch. So thank you for your attention of this video. If you have any questions, do first consult the following resources. The APA Publication Style 7th edition manual, if you have that. If not, then go to the library citation guide, guides.augusta.edu/APA, and the APA Style website is also a great resource packed with lots of information. They have all kinds of resources. If you click on Style and Grammar Guidelines, they've got all kinds of resources within each of these headings. It's great. And they've also got some great instructional aids to help you out with APA skills as well. You can learn more in their tutorials and webinars, handouts and guides, and they've got sample papers. If you have tried these resources and you're still finding things a little bit tricky, then do contact me or utilize the Ask a Librarian service if I'm unavailable. Okay, thank you.